Today I'm going to show you how to use the new curved text feature in Design Space to add written details, written text along simple shapes, which are great to use for cards, for gift bags like this, or tags, whatever you can think of. So we will start with a new project. First we'll choose our image. So there are some very nice simple flower shapes on the Paisley cartridge. It's best if you choose shapes that have very round shapes rather than, images with very round shapes rather than oval. I mean, it can be done, but you really have to kind of mess around with the lengthening out your images or your text. So it's actually just easier to stick with very round shapes. So I'm going to go back to this one. So you can see it's the circles are the curves are very wide, and then there's a big circle here. So I think this one will be much easier to use. Like I said, this would be, I mean, it's doable, but much harder. So we'll stick with this one. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to use. We will start by ungrouping it. I don't like the positioning marks that are on some of these older images, so I'm just going to use contour and turn those off. There we go, so now they're gone. Okay, so we're going to start by adding text. So I think we'll go with happy birthday for this one. We will change it to writing, and then we'll pick a font. I happen to really like Babette, so we'll choose that one. So I like how that looks. It's important that you adjust your letter spacing before you do your editing. You cannot isolate your letters and then curve them. So you have to use the letter spacing tool to adjust the spacing. So I'm just going to decrease it until they are pretty close. That looks good. There's a little bit of overlap there, but not too bad. Maybe we'll bump it back the other way a little bit. There, that looks pretty good. And I mean, it's going to be fairly small, so it's, you won't be able to tell if it's overlapping too much or if there's little gaps. No big deal. So I'm just going to resize it sort of close to the width of one of the curves. Oops, maybe about there. Okay, and then I'm going to use the curve tool. So if I go to the positive, it curves down. So this looks pretty close to what I want. I might go a little bit bigger. So I guess that would be the height. And curve it just a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty close. I'm just going to rotate a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty close. So now I'm going to duplicate it, and we're going to go do the next petal. So what I do is I hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, and then I can rotate, and it jumps in even increments. So this is, oops, undo. So this is pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit more, so I'm just going to manually turn it. And I think I've gone a little bit too big. So I'm going to go back to this one and make it just a wee bit smaller. I think that's better. Okay, so duplicate again, Shift, and then rotate. There we go, that's better. And then I'm just going to manually rotate it a little bit more. That's pretty close. There. So now I'm going to, again, hold the Shift key and I'm going to select this one and this one. You can see they're both highlighted over here. Whoops. And then I'm going to duplicate again. So now I've got both. Shift key, rotate. And then I'm going to place them. So this one's right, but not this one. So then I'm just going to manually rotate and position them until it looks right. So that's pretty close. Oops. Okay, and then I've got 3 left to go, so I'm going to hold the Shift key and click on 3 of them until they're highlighted, and duplicate again, and then we'll rotate them again, and put them in place. There, so that looks pretty good. You can fine tune them a little bit. It's actually kind of neat when the ends of one word touch the other one. It sort of looks like it's a continuous writing all the way around, but this is pretty close, but it's not quite. But I mean, you can fine tune it as much as you'd like. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so once you get them the way you like, then you're going to select all and attach. So that now sort of sticks the writing to the cut. So when you go to cut, it'll all be in one layer. So then for the center, we'll do the same thing. So how about, we'll say, hope you have a great day. So again, we're going to adjust the letter spacing. Until they're pretty well all attached. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to curve this all the way around in a circle. Let's see, so hope you have a great day, so that looks good. Whoops, so we will resize it to fit inside of our circle. What we can try is we can highlight all and then go to align and center it. So that doesn't quite work, so we're going to keep it right about there. It's pretty close. So now, I mean, I have it in my circle, so now if I do want to adjust any of the letter spacing, now I can ungroup and then manually adjust any letters. But I now, by doing this, I can no longer adjust the curve. So you have to be sure that you have it where you want it first before you isolate any of the letters. Okay, so we'll just fix a couple of these. This one could go over a little bit. And the rest of them are upside down, so it's a little bit hard to see. A little bit more. Okay, and let's move this one over. Okay, so, oh, and we'll move this T closer. There. Not 100% sure I like this one, but anyways, you get the idea. Okay, so then again, we're going to select all and attach. And now we have our full flower. So that's all there is to it. So when you go to make it, you'll see that the writing is now attached inside the circles and inside the flower. and you'll just put a pen in your machine. Depending on the size, you'll probably want to use a fine tip. If you were making this, you know, full 12 inches, you could probably get away with a heavier pen if you used a heavier font. But play with it, see what works for you. You can also, let's move this one, and we will ungroup, detach. You can also get rid of this. Oops. You can also add sort of like stitch marks by using the dash. So I'm going to add a whole bunch of them. And then again, we will curve it. And resize. It's not going to cooperate with me. There we go. There, so you can also add the stitched look. And again, select all and detach. There you go. So you could add a second layer if you wanted to make like a double stitch. You could add, let's see here, you could do X's for that type of stitched look. I would probably choose a different font that's more even for this. Would be a good one, maybe the Cricut. Let's filter for writing. Oops. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's try this one. There we go. So let's just finish the curve or the circle. And make that smaller. And we will move to front. And I think with this one I would make the font quite a bit smaller. That doesn't really work, does it? Anyways, you get the idea. Probably adding more X's, I think, would probably do the job. Yeah, there we go. I like that look better. And we'll center these. Oops. There, and then you could attach. There, and that gives a really nice detailing too. But yeah, play with it. Lots of options here. You can also play with fonts that have dingbats. Cricut doesn't have those, but you know, something that you've downloaded from the internet may have dingbats. Play with those and just have fun with it. So thanks a lot. I hope that's helpful.